Hi there. Welcome to Scoobs Cubes. Thank you so much for listening to this presentation. This is a six-sided approach to improved resilience, and I am Melissa. Okay, well, let's start by talking about resiliency. It's the ability to bounce back from stressful situations. So when something troubling happens to a dog, it gives them this resiliency, gives them the ability to kind of shake it off and cool back down from that experience. So this program is made in honor of Scooby, who struggled to cope with life's challenges. Um, his condition was extreme. Most dogs really do have some ability to cope with stress, but his situation was a reminder that all dogs could use a little boost when it comes to strengthening their skills of emotional self-control. So Scoobs Cubes has six sides. And so this is a six-sided approach to resiliency. And those six sides are relaxation exercises, stress management, having a sense of safety, um, having enrichment opportunities, having the freedom to choose, and their physical well-being. Okay, well, everything gets easier with practice. And that includes the important life skill of emotional self-control. So when we can help dogs go from a place of elevated stress back down to their baseline, it's really good practice. So for a while, we might need to help them calm down. But that experience of the rise and the fall of emotion, it's remembered in their body. And even when we're not there to help them, in future moments of stress, their body will remember. It will have been practiced, and it will be a habit for them. Okay, so the first side of the resiliency cube that I want to talk about is relaxation, because this is the one that I think needs to be practiced the most for this emotional regulation, for their ability to bounce back from stress. So the goal of these relaxation exercises is to practice relaxation because it will get easier with practice. But we can't really make a dog relax. It just isn't taught in the same way that you would train a skill like sit. So we have to come at it a little bit differently. So we try to facilitate relaxation. We set the scene so that the conditions are right to relax. And then when the dog does, then they're rewarded not only by the treats and the praise, but also they have kind of an intrinsic reward. They're rewarded by the good feeling of being relaxed. So because we want them to develop the skill as a habit and not as a trained response, we try not to do a whole lot of telling them what to do. So I try not to tell them to sit or lay down. I want them to come to that on their own. But in the first few sessions, you will see, I'm going to show you some videos of this, that it is okay to make a suggestion of a position, but it's not done in a way that says, sit down. It's more like, hey, wouldn't it be more comfortable if you were to lie down instead of just be sitting there? So I did want to put these two resources into the PowerPoint because they're really handy to look at if you're curious about getting more information about different relaxation protocols. So there they are. The Chill Out Fido is a book, and the relaxation protocol is by Karen Overall, and it's in a PDF online. Okay, so we're going to get into some examples of relaxation exercises. Okay, so this is a video with me working with Joe, and let's see how we go here. So you can see that he has some energy flowing through him. I wouldn't call him super stressed right now, but he's definitely excited, and my goal is to get him to relax. So I do put a leash on him because I don't want him wandering around picking up toys looking for other things to do. And I'm just trying to present a very boring environment for him. I'm dropping little bits of treat on the mat. Hold on, I'm going to pause it here because you drop the treats on the mat so that they're focused to go back to the mat, and instead of just feeding from your hand to his mouth, I want the treats actually on the mat so his interest is downward, not upwards at me. I just really want him to just kind of melt into the mat. So what you're going to see here is he obviously left the mat and he's going to try to solicit some attention. It's very different for these shelter dogs to just chill out with a person around. If you think about it, they do often lay down in their kennels, in their suites or wherever they're staying, and do find some relaxation. But when they're with people, they're often elevated in energy. So that's the association. People mean higher energy. So that's not necessarily great for dogs moving on to become pet dogs in homes. You know, you want them to be able to relax with people around. So that's a good practice for that situation as well. Okay, so let's play the video. Okay, so he's not relaxing yet, and I'm just trying not to engage with him. And I'm just kind of pointing back to the mat and letting him just slide off my legs. I didn't say anything. So dogs can't really make a bad decision here. I'm not going to ever say no to what he's doing. All I'm doing, once again, is just going back to, I took a deep breath. I'm going back to feeding the mat so that he can keep his focus down on that mat. And I'm just trying to present a model of relaxation. So he does just sit there without a whole lot of other activity for 2 minutes. And then pretty soon I'm like, you know, wouldn't it be more comfortable if you were just to lay down? So I'm making that suggestion. I'm not really telling him anything. I'm just kind of luring the behavior with the treat. And then I say, that was a good boy. And he does for about 5 minutes. He hangs out in a relaxed state. Notice I took the leash off of him even because he just didn't need it anymore. He was very relaxed. The minute I started changing my body position, he became more alert. But he had achieved that relaxation and he did it on his own. So this was a good exercise for him. Okay, I want to show you another example of a relaxation exercise. It's the play then settle exercise. As I'm doing these, something I wanted to mention is watch what I'm doing to try to help the dog know to relax. So I'm doing a lot of deep breathing is what I'm doing. So watch for that. Okay, here we are again. And the first step is to remind them that that mat is a place of relaxation. So the mat kind of becomes another cue, which is very helpful. And I'm just feeding the mat again. And you can see he's already more relaxed. His tail isn't wagging. His body language is more relaxed than it was. Okay, so to get this game started, then, he grabbed it before I could throw it. But his favorite game is tug, so he wants to play that. Okay, fine. So I tug a little bit, and notice I don't have to win. I just let go. This is not competition here. We were just playing. And then just, once again, I don't try to pressure him into a down. I'm just like, hey, this is more comfy to just lay down. Notice my breath. So he's rolled over onto his hip. He's relaxing for sure. So I keep just dropping treats to reward that. And yep, here we go again. We're going to rise the energy so that he's getting excited. And with excitement comes that stress. So it's good stress, but still it's stress. kind of the same chemicals. Yeah, and once again, he wants to tug, of course. His favorite game. And this time, instead of just letting him win it, we're going to work on something extra. Just drop it. And yep, there's your reward for dropping it. Thank you very much. And we're going to come back over here and once again, bring the energy down and practice settling down, because practice makes perfect. Feeding the mat. Okay, so you've just seen two examples of ways to facilitate relaxation for dogs, which is relax on the mat and playing with them and then helping them settle, and then playing with them and helping them settle. So they're practicing that rise and the fall and the rise and the fall, which is great practice for resilience. But that's not the only ways of practicing relaxation. You can reward calming signals. And calming signals, there's a lot of them, but the big ones that I see the most are yawning, licking lips, turning away, like when they turn their head away or turn their body away, sniffing the ground. An important one, and stay tuned, we're going to talk more about sniffing. Play bows, which are like, stretching their body. Sitting actually is one. And then like turning their body in a curve, like that curved body, either in motion as they approach or just standing, kind of curving their body around. Anyway, those are all calming signals, and they have two purposes. The first one is to calm the dog down that's actually doing it. So as a dog yawns, it's like taking a deep breath. They're trying to calm their body down by doing that. But it also helps those around them calm down. So it's like when you're in a room and one person yawns and all of a sudden other people are yawning. It's like modeling behavior that other individuals will follow suit. So it's great to encourage the dogs to do those things, because it's helpful for themselves as well as others around them. So also, number 2 here is when you see dogs being relaxed, like if you're just walking down the kennel row and there's some dogs like just hanging out, you might want to toss them a treat and say, wow, thank you so much. That's awesome. Well done for coming back down to a calm state after, no doubt, there's been some rises in stress. Number 3 here is provide quiet time opportunities. There's something to be said for just being in a quiet environment and letting all the nerves just kind of settle down. You can be part of their relaxation by massaging them and petting them in a way that is appealing for them. And then also there's a lot of information on music therapy, different types of music that actually facilitate relaxation. Okay, another side of Scoobs Cube is stress management to strengthen resiliency. So stress is an inevitable part of life, but it is really important to help these dogs decrease as much stress as possible, so that when we're asking them to practice this relaxation, they are not trying to do this from a place of huge stress. They can more easily relax if they're in a place of low to moderate stress. So it's important to do everything we can to reduce as much overall stress as possible. So they can practice this. If they have so much stress in their body that it takes a lot of effort to just take any bit of it out, it's impossible to get them back down to their baseline. Okay, so what are we going to do to manage stress better? So to help a dog learn how to bounce back from stress, we do have to decrease as much stress as they're experiencing. So there's 2 big ways of doing this. Avoid adding more stress, and then help them drain their current stress. Okay, so for stress management, we want to avoid adding more stress. So you can do that by avoiding these high intensity triggering situations, like outside of the pet adoption center along the outside kennels. That's obviously a difficult space for a lot of dogs to be in. So if you're walking a dog, try not to walk them through that area when there's a lot of dogs barking at them. If a dog is triggered, so now they're spiked in stress, do what you can to decrease that intensity. So try to just leave that situation as quickly as possible. You can use treats as a distraction. I'm a big believer in high value treats. So if you have something delicious, it might be enough to draw their attention away from that trigger. You can scatter them on the ground, or you can, like a Pez dispenser, just do one at a time from your hand. Or you can do stuff to engage with the dog, like ask them to touch, or look at you, or something that you've worked on with them that they know. You don't want to add stress, though. Remember, that's our point. We don't want to add stress. So don't add stress by commanding them to do something. So these are more like suggestions, like, hey, you want to touch instead of barking and lunging? Okay, also be mindful of your own energy. It's really important for you to stay calm. Just kind of modeling that good energy for your dog to realize that, hey, this person's not getting upset. I don't know why I'm getting upset. Avoid all forms of punishment. That's really a big one that you want. Our point here is to avoid adding more stress, and punishment definitely adds stress. So when they're doing stuff that is like unwanted behavior, do what you can to just be patient and not use punishment. Use redirection when you can. So positive interrupters. So if they're, jumping on you, for instance, don't do the uhs. Just turn away. Do something that is not going to reward them, but is going to get them to stop what they're doing. You can use a treat to redirect their attention away from jumping on you and onto the ground. Do consent checks, and what that means is if you're petting a dog, give them a break from your touch and see if they come in for more. That's a good way of knowing if they're enjoying it or not. You want to do your best to minimize leash frustrations. So I think that the slip leads for most dogs that's totally fine, but for some dogs, especially the really strong pulling dogs, I think that's super stressful to, they're doing it to themselves, but they don't know that. They're just dogs. So those are the dogs that you might think to have a harness on them instead of a slip lead, so that they're not inadvertently adding more stress onto themselves. And then, do your best to avoid yelling or angry body language or anything like that that's going to add more stress. Okay, so we're still trying to avoid adding more stress. And one way we can do that is by helping them feel differently about their triggers. So we can teach them to have a different emotional response to those things that are triggering. So we do that by using desensitization and counter conditioning. So that's presenting a mildly stressful trigger. And then pairing that mild trigger with a super special thing, usually treats. By doing that, you can change the way a dog feels about that situation. We actually have some video of Joe doing that here in a minute. Okay, so we're going to watch an example here of doing a little bit of emotional training with Joe's response to a trigger. And this is step one of it. Okay, so Joe has practiced relaxing on the mat. So now we're going to add a new step in. Notice what he's doing. I have the nylon leash there, and he's wanting to play with it. He's attempting to tug it. I'm not punishing him. I'm not saying no. I'm just not engaging with that behavior. I'm not going to reward it by playing with them. What I will do here in a second because he keeps going, is I will grab a treat and just use that a little bit to distract him. Like, hey, there's treats involved in this if you kind of work with me here. All right, so yay, you were a good boy. You let me put your leash on without tugging on it. And what's helping us in this situation is that he's already learned to relax on the mat. So he's on the mat and he's like, I know this game. We're feeding the mat again, and all I'm doing is having a mild trigger enter into the game. So he's able to still kind of maintain his cool, even though there's a mild trigger around. And this can work with other mild triggers. It just so happens that the leash is his trigger. Okay, so we just saw that Joe was able to learn to be calm even though there was a mild trigger around. So now we're going to go on to step 2 of that, and there's going to be 2 different triggers here. We're still going to work on the leash a little bit, but we're going to add in a different trigger. Not at the same time. You'll see I have a little note in the video. I'm not going to put the leash and the other trigger together because that's trigger stacking. That's adding too many triggers for where he's at in his learning. So you'll see in the video. Okay, before I start playing the video, I wanted to briefly fill you in on what the side-to-side pattern is. You'll see it here in a second. It's just when a dog is looking at you, you can toss a treat to the ground and then ask them to look up at you again and toss a treat to the other side. So it's kind of this back and forth motion. It kind of is, I guess it's kind of just soothing to the nervous system. So here, we'll play it and you can watch what it looks like. So he's very focused. And he turns and looks, and I give him another reward, another treat. So right now he's just practicing this without any triggers around, just the back and forth. Okay, so we did that a few times, and now I'm going to introduce his mild trigger. So he's like, I might try to get that. Where did he go? He went to the mat, because at the mat is a place where he feels that calm energy feels good to be there. So notice there was much reduced reactivity, so to speak, to the trigger this time. And now he has that leash right in his face, and he's not tugging on it. He's choosing the pattern game, not tugging. So he has a different emotional response to his leash. I mean, it's not solved. It's not like, oh, yes, he'll never tug that leash again, but we're getting there. Okay, so now we went outside and we're back to the chain leash because the nylon leash and outside would be too many triggers. Yes. There is a squirrel in a tree that, well, it was on the ground and then it ran up the tree that kind of got his attention, and he started to pull and overreact. So we started the pattern. So we're just doing a side to side when he looks at me. So right now though, his ear is like paying attention to the squirrel, and then he looks at the squirrel, and then he looks back at me. So that's him learning about his world, feeling comfortable in his world, but then realizing, okay, I can still stay engaged with my person here. All right. Okay, and then the other part of stress management is to help drain the stress that they just hold in their bodies. And there are so many options to do that. Here are some ideas. But it's important to find the techniques that really resonate with that dog that you're working with. So some of them might feel better after a walk. Some of them might feel better after, licking something. Some of them might feel better with just sitting with a person while they, look at their phone. So you kind of have to see which ones are really effective for the individual dog. Okay, so another side of Scoobs Cube is feeling safe. And really, feeling safe is the foundation of emotional resilience. Um, so it's such a fundamental need that all animals need to feel safe. If they don't feel safe, then they're never going to decrease from their heightened stress. So it's really, really important to help these dogs feel safe. Okay, we're going to watch a video where it is one way of helping a dog feel safe in their surroundings, and that is by looking and learning. Okay, this is look and learn. So we're by the parking lot, and there's people getting into their car. Watch his nose coming up here. He's learning about his environment. Lots of sniffing. This is helping him feel safe. And then he's checking back in with me. Okay, so that looking and learning is a really helpful exercise for dogs that are maybe feeling a little bit unsafe in this new world that they're in. So just taking some time and letting them just watch the world go by, being outside is it's a great exercise for them. Anyway, okay, so other ways that we can help dogs feel safe so that they can practice this resiliency, the bounce back from any stress, is to have trusting relationships with people and or other dogs. So, they're probably feeling kind of alone in the shelter. So we do need to give them some gentle guidance leadership. That's not saying that we're going to be bossy and dominant. It's more having some confidence and guiding them in that way. Patience instead of punishment is really, really important. They often, their stress causes them to do some behaviors that is probably considered bad behavior, like jumping up or tugging on leashes, Joe, or barking, or, all of those behaviors that aren't necessarily ones that we love. But that's most often due to their stress. So if we want those behaviors to go away, then the best way to do that is to decrease their stress. So anyway, use patience instead of punishment. Punishment is going to add stress, and redirect them with treats instead of using a whole lot of ahs or no-nos or any of that. And then also your calm energy will help a dog trust you. If you're calm and stable, then they feel comfortable in your presence. Also, the social support. They're massaging, that touch of that connection when you touch them, quiet conversation, maybe read out loud to them so that they're learning to trust you. Predictability is a great way for dogs to feel safe in an environment so that they are understanding what the rules are. So be consistent, have a schedule that gives the day structure. Pattern games are a great way for predictability when you're working with triggers. And then the last thing here is when they are triggered by things in the environment, make sure that we keep those things at a safe distance for them as best as possible. Okay, another side of Scoobs Cube is enrichment exercises. And using enrichment it does help their resilience. It does help them bounce back from stressful experiences. It can promote that relaxation, reduce stress and anxiety. And when people are involved with this enrichment, it strengthens their bond with other people. Okay, so I think the number one enrichment opportunity that helps with resiliency is sniffing. It really, for whatever biologic reason, it helps dogs de-stress. It helps them calm down. So, you know, they're doing a lot when they're sniffing around. They're gathering information about the world that they're in, so that gives them a sense of security. It lets them make their own choices, you know, how to follow their nose around, and it also takes some of the edge off of that jittery energy, you know, of feeling so stressed and kind of a lot of tension there. They just kind of forget about it all while they're sniffing around. So I encourage you to try to do some sniffing exercises with the dogs, and Joe's going to show you a couple here in a second. The other enrichment stuff is excellent. The chewing, licking, shredding, and foraging for food, really, really good stuff for enrichment and de-stressing them or giving them the opportunity to de-stress. But then another one that kind of gets forgotten sometimes is force-free training, or doing dog training, where we're not adding stress into the day. We're trying to teach them in a way that it's kind of a fun game. So a lot of dogs that struggle with stress have some impulse control problems, and so teaching them some impulse control stuff is beneficial to them and will help them when they're placed as a pet in a home. So walking on a loose leash, waiting at doors, and helping them understand how to how to leave things alone. Other skills that you can work on are ones that can replace unwanted behavior. So sit, touch, and come. So like when a dog is doing something that you don't really want them to do, you can ask them to do a replacement behavior. So those are always nice skills to work on. And then also don't forget about the calming signals, because once again, a dog that easily knows how to sit or take a bow, or turn his head away from a trigger, those are dogs that, you know, once those skills are practiced, they will offer them up more frequently because they're a habit. So it helps calm them down as well as other dogs in the environment. Okay, so once again, enrichment to build resiliency, to help them bounce back from stress. One of the ways to do it is with force-free training. Okay, here's Joe doing some touching, sit, focusing on me, so that's eye contact, and then waiting at a door. Okay, so that's natural stress relief to be working with somebody like that. Okay, another example of using enrichment to build resiliency is to go on a safari. And this is great in so many ways, but here's Joe doing a safari. Okay, here's Joe on his safari. So he started eating that. Instead of saying no, I kiss, kiss. Good boy. So it's just asking them to do something else. So that kiss, kiss sound is obviously moving away from something. So he was kind of cruising along at a fast speed. There he's going fast, and I'm doing my best to keep up. I want that leash to stay as loose as possible. All right. Okay, another side of Scoobs Cube is the freedom to choose. So the ability to make choices and have some control in the day helps the dog feel more confident, and this helps them bounce back from stressful things, when they feel that confidence. So a loss of agency occurs in various small ways throughout the day, such as when the collar and the leash restricts them from going where they want to go, or they're being touched by people they don't know, or they're being told to sit or heel or whatever. And if they don't, then they're then they're going to get in trouble for it. So all of these experiences add stress. So I want them to have opportunities in their day to feel like they have some control of the circumstances. And this absolutely will help them rebound from stress. And here are a few ideas on how to give dogs the ability to choose things in the day. You can take them on big long walks where they have a harness attached to a long line, and they get to kind of choose where they're going. You can do that on a shorter leash. You just kind of have to walk quickly to follow behind them everywhere they're going. You can allow them to choose which toys to play with. You can engage with force-free training using cues instead of commands. So like that's a suggestion instead of a bossy command. You can practice calming signal skills so that they become an easy habit for the dogs to do. And then you can just, by being present there and listening to their body language and responding on what they would like to do. Okay, and our last video of Joe is an example of the freedom to choose by doing hide and go seek treats. All right, here's Joe, and we're in the basement, and I'm in the family room area while he's out in the play area. And I'm just hiding little pieces of cheese. Not really hiding, I'm just kind of putting them behind things. Little pieces of cheese, not too difficult. This is his first time doing it. So I do ask him to wait here because having some structure to what is and isn't allowed is absolutely fine. I'm not forcing him. I rewarded him for doing that. Okay, then I say, come on and let's go find it. And he's like, whoa. So watch his nosing around, sniffing. He's really using his nose very effectively. And then there he finds another treat. He was going back toward another one, but then all of a sudden he's sidetracked. But he's still sniffing, so I'm cool with this. This is still very good for his stress reduction. All of a sudden, oh, he gets the scent again, and he goes down and he finds it. That was a good boy. Okay, and the last side of Scoobs Cube is physical health care. And this is obviously, if they're not a healthy individual, then it's really hard to bounce back from stress. So exercise, a balanced diet, and adequate sleep can really help with their physical health, and then that helps improve their resilience. It needs to be said that a lot of these dogs struggle, and we have the advantage of having medicine that can help. So there definitely needs to be veterinary involvement in dogs that are struggling with resiliency. So consulting with veterinarians is a crucial part in a holistic approach to overall health and well-being. Okay, wrapping up here. So practicing the emotional self-control is beneficial for all dogs. It's actually beneficial for all people, for all animals. You know, having emotional self-control, being able to bounce back from challenging situations it's a skill that you can get better at. So practicing it, you know, for people take your deep breaths, do some meditation or yoga or whatever it is, take a long walk in nature. Those things that help you de-stress from those things that cause you stress. Okay, and this is a review of the suggested exercises to help a dog build resiliency. So relax on a mat, play and then settle, having quiet time, facilitating their calming down after excitement. So whether that's after going for a walk, they need to calm down. After playing in a play group, it'd be nice if they calm down. Anytime that they're elevated in energy, help them practice calming down after that, especially the ones that are having a hard time coping with their stress. Avoid intense triggers. Use treats to distract from triggers. Pair a tolerable trigger, so that's like the mild trigger of seeing another dog in the distance, or the squirrels, or for Joe his leash. So pair these mild triggers with treats and relaxation. Teach a pattern game that look at me, treat to the side, look at me, treat to the side, look at me, treat to the side. That is a very helpful game for dogs to know that they can use that when there is a mild trigger around. It gives them a replacement behavior, something to do in replace of the reactivity. Minimize the leash frustration. So try to use harnesses when you have them. Reward good behavior and ignore or redirect unwanted behavior. Really do your best not to use punishment. Use patience when dogs are misbehaving. Use a positive interrupter, so try to engage them with you instead of telling them no or something like that. Massage is a nice way to help them come back down out of their stress. Use calm energy yourself. The look and the learn, so that they want to see the world around them. So make sure give them that chance. You can teach them skills like reinforce their calming signals, eye contact with you, wait at doors, sit, touch, and play bows. Take them on a safari and maybe play the game of hide and seek treats. Okay, well, that's it. Once again, this program was made in honor of our good friend Scooby, who we all knew and we all loved. So in his memory, I hope you take one or two of these exercises and maybe help another dog practice resilience. And please, if you have any questions at all, don't hesitate to ask me about it. Find me at the shelter or email me. My email address is right there, and I'd be happy to talk further about this stuff. All right, thanks for listening.